What is the biggest lesson that you guys, our other two panelists, Maria and Fidela, what was the biggest lesson you learned in your journey of building wealth?
I think for me, the biggest lesson was really about educating myself on how to keep it, how to monitor wealth. So I want to build on what you said because you talked about real estate. Okay, I'm a finance person, I'm a CPA, but I'm not a real estate expert. You talked about investments. And I'm going to give you an idea here that over the years, I have worked with a financial advisor. So we all have doctors, and they help us maintain our health, and they help us make sure that, you know, we are staying healthy from a physical standpoint. And I view the financial advisor as sort of a consultant in me personally in terms of the financial aspect and how to grow the wealth. And so what I have learned over time is really to educate myself on some basics, the basics about real estate and what does it mean to, you know, to acquire property and insurance related to that. When you have investments, what's the difference between a stock and a bond and, you know, a NASDAQ versus an S&P type company. There are some very basic tools that are out there. A book, the internet, you know, has so many great resources as well. But I like dealing with people one-on-one. And over the years, I've dealt with a financial advisor who has helped me identify financial goals. So kind of like what Leticia was talking about is where do you want to be 5 years from now? I can tell you that, you know, 20 plus years ago, my financial goal was how do I get into my first home? And when we accomplished that, you know, I had children. So the next set of goals was how do I pay for college? Even though they're, you know, 2, 3, 4 years old, but, you know, college is expensive. And now I look at our financial plan and it's like, you know, how do we plan for retirement? You know, what do we want to set as those goals, those financial goals? So I think for me that in that process, I didn't know it, you know, off the top of my head. I had to learn it, and I educated myself with a book. I bought a book that explained to me how these things work. And I read that, I talked to people, and I used a financial consultant to really educate me on some basics. So.
Very important.
Well, for me, the biggest lesson was what we went through in 2008 and 2009. How many of you remember that?
Oh, God.
I had my real estate portfolio dropped in value. My 401k significantly, and I had a lot of Wells Fargo stock. To give you some perspective, Wells Fargo stock was at $44 and went down to 8. Everything that I had planned for suddenly came crashing down on me. I still had my job. I thought, okay, that's my third prong. I'm still okay there. But the lesson that I learned from all of that was it got me to think about, do I have sound investments? 2008, 2009 was a blip, and it will happen again. We don't know when or how severe, but it will happen again. So the lesson I learned was I felt I had sound investments, and now, however many years later, I'm back up beyond where I was at that time. So it's time. You have to ride through these things, and there will always be sunshine that comes out, even in the very worst of days. And make sure that you're making sound investments. And if you don't have a sound investment, don't be afraid to sell it.